In early August, the Central Bank of Russia gave a prediction for the development of the country's economy for 2022-2025. The document says that in the current year and most of 2023, the economy will shrink due to the beginning of unprecedented external trade and financial restrictions.
GDP in 2023 will reduce more than in 2022. In 2024 the decline will continue, and only in 2025 is a slight increase possible, about 1%, from the website of the Central Bank of Russia.
In fact, Russia was able to avoid an acute crisis, but faced a new risk. GDP may slowly fall for several years, and then the economy will not recover quickly. Western technologies will be inaccessible to Russia. Moreover, a brain drain has already occurred. For example, this can be seen in the emigration of developers. Since February 24, about 200,000 specialists have left the country. Scientists are also leaving by the thousands. The so-called creative class is massively leaving the country. Those young people who remain are forced to put up with the fact that studying in Europe is now out of reach.
In fact, all my life I dreamed of going on an internship to Europe as a confectioner, and unfortunately now they don't even give a visa, they don't give a patent, and unfortunately it did not work out this year. I hope that next year everything will be improved, everything will change.
Western sanctions were most quickly felt by representatives of the Russian auto industry. Due to a shortage of components, almost all Russian car plants worked with interruptions or stopped production. According to the Federal State Statistics Service, from January to July 2022, 300,000 passenger cars were produced in Russia, which is 64% less than in the same period of 2021, and in July only 19,000 cars left the assembly lines, which is 80% less than in 2021.
There were some talks about the consequences of the special operation, and there were many options. One of the options was that perhaps Western firms would massively leave. Renault held on to the last. It expressed its readiness to work before and after, but apparently losses, possible in image level, in the West simply outweighed the losses that we had.
Articles began to appear in the Russian press claiming that situation in Europe is even worse, and the news full of statements about the impending collapse have appeared.
There is an opinion that in winter, when the abscesses of burger anger begin to burst and more or less successful Euromaidans flare up all over Europe, our officials will begin to make proposals to Western industrialists that will be difficult to refuse. It is possible and necessary. There will be, as they say, walking with all the money, buying out and pulling out on Russian territory as many assets as there are enough oil and gas rubles. Mikhail Tokmakov, journalist for topcore.ru.
Opposition politician Dmitry Gudkov has no doubt that difficulties await Europe in winter, but no one will play giveaway with Russia, and in the long run the West will be able to refuse Russian energy resources.
All decisions at the bureaucratic and political level have already been made there, but of course how much gas and oil can be bought in order to survive this winter, they will do it. In extreme cases they will go to some kind of self-limitations. In my opinion now, Switzerland will consume 15% less gas in winter, and I think the same thing is now being done in other countries. Well, in those countries that are very dependent on Russian gas.
If the Putin regime is not changed, a catastrophe in the economy will create a risk to the state integrity of Russia, says Dmitry Gudkov.
Russia will degenerate, will follow the path of some kind of North Korea or Venezuela, until it crumbles into different parts. But this is not the best scenario, believe me, either for Ukraine or for the world. Because what is happening now, the war that Putin unleashed, is the consequences of the collapse of the great empire of the Soviet Union. Well, imagine that Russia will fall apart into different parts. Each will get nuclear weapons. How it will end is unclear.
Deficit, unemployment and inflation can cause discontent both in society and in the elites of Russia. According to Dmitry Gudkov, in case of a military defeat of Russia in the war against Ukraine, a scenario is possible when society consolidates and wants to change power. But then it will be necessary to change the constitution and develop a new strategy for Russia's communication with the civilized world, the Politican believes. Reported by Serhiy Kulyas, Natalia Belokudrya, UATV News.